the way that you can tell which one's on the right and which one's on the left, right? The medial rectus is the one that stands alone, right?
Mhm.
So this would be what eye? It's going to be the left eye, right? And then remember the lacrimal gland, and then here, well, you're basically going to have the cornea, right? And then the sclera, the iris, and then in the middle, the pupil, and then there's the lens, okay? And we mentioned that in front of the lens, you're going to have the anterior cavity, right? But then in the front of your iris is your anterior chamber of the anterior cavity.
Mm-hmm.
And in the back of the iris is your posterior cavity of the anterior chamber.
Wow.
Right? Wait, hold on. No, I said that backwards.
Yeah.
Sorry. So you have the anterior cavity and the posterior cavity. Right? That's the one I wanted to say. Okay. Let's open into that one, just so we have a reference. I don't want to mess that up, because those two are kind of confused, cavity and chamber. And your delineation is your lens. Okay?
Oh, okay.
All right. So yeah, it's cavities.
Divided into two
So your lens is the one that divides your eye into the anterior and posterior cavities. That's what I wanted to say. And your iris divides your anterior cavity into anterior and posterior chambers. That's what I wanted to say. Sorry. Okay? And then, so when the light passes through the pupil, remember how you have ciliary muscles as well as your the constrictors. So basically, those are the ones that regulate the amount of light, because you only need certain amount of light in order to allow for your the vision to be formed, right? So you're basically stimulating. So when it goes through, the light goes through, penetrates, and goes through the lens, which hopefully is not like this, because this is broken. But the light will go through, and eventually it will go, so remember this is the posterior cavity. It's also filled with fluid, okay, the vitreous humor. And then as the light goes through, it's going to end up in the retina, okay? So there's the sclera, and the middle part here where you see vessels is your choroid, which is, again, it's going to have the vessels in there, and then you're going to have the retina out here. And this is basically where your optic nerve will exit. This is the blind spot that I was telling you about, because you can't form an image if you don't have a retina for the light to land on, because that's where your photoreceptors are, which are your rods and cones. So in that area, if the light ends up in that area, you're not going to be able to see anything or visualize anything there, because that's where the optic nerve is. So that's pretty much it. Okay. In med school,